All right, let's do this. So today is going to look a little different. It's just me today. Well, not just me. Unfortunately, Tommy couldn't make it. He is currently on vacation. Tommy, when you see this, I hope you're having so much fun down there in Florida. So yeah, today we are going to be discussing Loki season 1, episode 1, but we're going to have a special guest, Brandon, good friend of mine personally, good friend of the show, to discuss Marvel's latest installment. So yeah, we're super excited to get into it with you. Tommy will be back next week. We'll be back to regularly scheduled programming, and we can't wait to have him back on and see you guys again together. So I'm going to cut to a quick break here, and we will be back with Brandon. Welcome back, everybody. I know it's only been seconds since you saw me in the intro clip, but we are back with my very close friend and very close friend of the show, Brandon. Brandon, welcome to the show. You got anything to say?
Excited to be here. That's about it. Just ready to start talking.
Right on. Okay, so as I mentioned just about 30 seconds ago, also in the intro clip, we are going to be discussing Loki season 1, episode 1 today. We're both super stoked to get back into Marvel content and get back into the swing of things. So we are super excited to have you guys, and let's get right into it. Okay, so Loki kind of picks up right where everything left off. Kind of crazy. Right as he steals the Tesseract in Endgame and vanishes into thin air. All of a sudden, he is shot into a desert where the TVA then picks him up, or the Time Variance Authority, who seems to be at the moment, our protagonists. And Loki ends up kind of being not necessarily our antagonist, but definitely an anti-hero as he's been throughout the series. What did you think about seeing Loki for the first time, Brandon?
Oh, I was very excited to finally see Loki again. I was definitely disappointed when he got killed off in Endgame, but I'm glad to see him making a return. Yeah, and it was kind of cool to see him interact with the Mongols for just the few seconds that he got.
Yeah, it's hilarious. And that was a funny thing was, he kind of ended up interacting or being a part of actual US history. I have that kind of written down here, but we see him on the plane. I don't know if you recognized who that was, but did you catch that?
Oh yeah, DB Cooper.
He was DB Cooper, which I thought was super cool. We kind of touched on that in the last episode in the preview for Loki. We were super excited. And also, when they go to, I believe it is Arkansas, we see in the mid 1700s, I believe. I don't know when. But anyway, we see that a group of the Minutemen have been attacked and by a man in a hood.
Oh yeah, that was I think it was 1589 or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Something, super very early American history. And we see a mysterious robed figure. Do you have any guesses as to who that could be, Brandon? Do you think it's Loki, or do you have another suspect?
I do think it will be a Loki, and I think it could be a very, very cool kind of twist on Loki that they pull, honestly.
Absolutely. And I do tend to agree. However, the internet has been freaking out the past day with different theories and throwing different theories around. And one of the theories that I can never ignore, that people cannot seem to leave alone, but people think they are finally getting Mephisto. Do you know kind of anything about Mephisto, Brandon? Because I'm kind of that's my knowledge on that is a bit touchy.
I mean, just through watching stuff on WandaVision and stuff like that, and then just trying to get caught up in like comic book material, stuff like that. But I don't know. I think the frame or the stained glass window is more just it kind of looks like Loki with the horns.
Yeah, so absolutely.
I
And
think it'd be cool with Mephisto if that's what it was like pointing towards, but I think it's just like the likelihood that they both kind of have the horns.
right. And and like I was mentioning last episode, I kind of said, I kind of touched on Marvel being the king of red herrings, and they have been throwing out the Mephisto red herring since pretty much I feel like episode 1 of WandaVision.
Yeah.
And since then, the internet's kind of eaten it up, and it's hilarious to see, people going crazy with those theories. So yeah. Anyway,
Circling back to the DB Cooper thing, it was kind
yeah,
of cool to see that it was a like bet made by Thor, because he lost a bet with Thor, so it's kind of cool to like see that like Thor was actually like pretty immature as well. Like
right. Right. At one point, they were kind of on similar maturity
yeah,
levels. And
yeah,
also, I think it's fun. I always do think it's funny that when we see those two together, they kind of stoop to each other's,
yeah,
boyish brother, immaturity and mischief. So it is, it's kind of got a, throwback and an homage to, Thor in his younger days when him and Loki were causing problems, and
yeah.
they were up to the same level of mischief, but it just seems that the mischief gene, I suppose, just kind of stuck with Loki a little bit more than it did with than it did with Thor. So, moving on, Loki is captured by the TVA, and he stands trial in front of, I believe her name is Ravana Rasleya, I believe. As he's taken through the TVA, it is absolutely riddled with Easter eggs.
Oh yeah,
Just different here and there. Did you catch any of those Easter eggs?
yeah. Did you catch the like poster that said the tickets were strictly reinforced?
Yeah,
And
go
it
ahead
you how strictly reinforced they are.
and we find out that they are in fact very
Oh
strictly
yeah,
enforced, with the penalty of death, or being reset slash vaporized. But we can kind of tell that being reset is just a euphemism for they're gonna kill you.
I think that was the pruning device because at the end when the chick swiped it,
Oh,
said she pruned it. So I don't know what pruning is yet, but I think that's what it is.
I hope I guess we'll find out. It seems that anything is possible in this,
Yeah.
I guess, universe. Or I suppose that
Yeah.
this TVA is its own universe, and their whole sole job is to protect basically the Avengers timeline.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of crazy, is they are strictly there to make sure that the timeline in which the Avengers, I guess, have the most success is the one that they preserve.
I uh since we kind of already talked about it, the Miss Minute intro, the
Yeah.
little like cartoon, I thought her talking about the multiverse war. I think it would be cool to kind of see what that was all about.
Yeah,
Like all the
absolutely.
craziness that actually happened
Which
there.
I think, and kind of just to again, sometimes I get ripped to shreds in the comments here. Sometimes people are like, guy's an idiot, which I am. I'm not super deep into the comics, but the comics don't always, the movies don't always.
Yeah, the MCU doesn't follow the comics exactly.
Right. So my kind of early thought is, that is going to be kind of what Eternals is centered around almost, or they're definitely going to touch on it a lot. However, I feel as though they're going to touch on it a whole lot in the next installment of Doctor Strange.
Oh yes.
Which
excited.
Which I'm really kind of feeling that this show definitely is setting up for the next Doctor Strange. I mean, it's giving us more multiverse. I mean, what do you think?
Oh yes, I don't think a lot of Doctor Strange stuff is necessarily going to come into Loki, but I think a lot of the stuff that happens in the Loki series is going to end up having some prevalence in the Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, absolutely, I agree. I
I
don't
don't
now.
want to kind of spoil any of the Doctor Strange stuff in the series.
Right. And I was kind of on the train, during WandaVision. I was kind of on the train of I want Stephen Strange to show up now, and I want him to show up soon.
Yeah.
And it definitely, obviously, if everybody here's seen it, it never happened. There was a couple, I suppose, homages or Easter eggs alluding to him, because as we know, Wanda is in
Doctor
is
Strange.
yeah is in the new Doctor Strange, so we're going to be seeing her, but we don't know when the hell this new Doctor Strange movie is going to take place. At least I don't. I mean, do you have any clue?
I mean, I definitely think it'll be after WandaVision. But
Absolutely.
then, like, from that point, I'm not too sure.
Yeah. So and I definitely hope it, without getting too into Doctor Strange, I hope we're following a linear timeline, because I think things are going to start to get confusing here soon. If they keep playing with time too much, it's definitely going to get a little harder.
Yeah.
So, eh, this was very existential. This was very, Loki is adjusting to, well, I guess, coming to grips with a lot of things, and in it he kind of finds out, which I thought was very very interesting. He is basically finding out that he is only a supporting character in his own life. His only role in life is to lose to the Avengers.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
imagine finding that out.
Oh yeah, that's a rough one to take to the gut.
Right.
You expect to keep on living.
you get abruptly kidnapped by a random authority from a random universe, and they're like, hey, just to let you know, you have never been anything, and you're basically supposed to be a flea on the neck of the Avengers. Which, again, it was very existential. And from Tommy's notes, he kind of had a good point. He said they kind of touch on topics of free will. Can you kind of get into that as well?
Yeah, they make it seem like there really is not any free will. There's very minimal free will, at least, as long as you're within that sacred timeline that's
Right.
just that thick, then you're good. But once you kind of step out and create the nexus points, then
Right. And it's funny because of the parallels that Loki's ideology and the TVA kind of have. And Loki's ideology has always been kind of the illusion of choice.
yes.
People are held hostage by the idea of freedom, and the TVA isn't too far off of that. If, like you just said, they kind of control the timeline, and they make sure that the timeline doesn't deviate from one thing to another. So I mean, it like Tommy said, like, you were getting into it, it really shows you that there really isn't free will. And Loki and this TVA, their ideologies don't split too far apart.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, you know do you think so? You definitely think that Loki's hunting himself?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Well, and we kind of get clued into that with the trailer, with obviously seeing a bunch of different versions of himself, with him being, the president, or something, with
president-like figure.
Right, but with vote on his shirt. So, how do we compare this? How are you comparing this to WandaVision? Episode 1 to episode 1, what are you thinking? Compare it.
Episode 1 to episode 1, I think Loki is a lot better, honestly.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong, I liked the old school filming technique that they did for like the first few episodes, just because like it's kind of cool to see like a time piece like that, especially in the Marvel universe. But just like, I mean, the animation on that city, like the TVA city, like watching that on a 4K screen.
Well, and another thing I really liked, and one thing I really kind of touched on and wanted to get out there in the last episode was, I thought this was going to be very director heavy, and it was very good production. It was amazing direction. But what I really, really, really wanted to get into was the scoring. I thought the music, especially when he's kind of when, like you said, he's opening up, he gets to go on a walk with Owen Wilson's character, name escapes me for right now. Um, he gets to go on a walk and see the TVA, like the actual universe of the TVA. I thought the scoring for that scene in particular stuck out to me because it was like a mysterious music, a brand new day kind of thing. And I just, I thought that was pretty awesome.
I thought the opening theme to the entire episode was pretty eerie and cool as well, since we're talking about scores.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely. 100% agree.
kind of the tone change at the end of the episode when he realized that the Tesseract means absolutely nothing. That tone change was phenomenal. Visualization.
Well, absolutely. And we'll get into that in a second, because I want to talk about that at the end of the episode. But kind of rolling with that, it's with the Tesseract being useless, the Infinity Stones are basically used as paperweights. When Loki escapes and runs into that, basically pencil pusher dude that means nothing, he's like, where are the, kind of wondering about the Infinity Stones. He's like, oh yeah, I get those all the time. And he just opens his drawer and every single Infinity Stone is just sitting there. And so Loki grabs, the Tesseract and makes it the cube again. And, it leads into, obviously it not working. So, what do you think? I mean, I don't know what to make of that.
I think it's kind of honestly like a meta nod to the fact that the Infinity Stones aren't really going to be a thing of the Marvel future.
Right. Right.
Kind of like their way of saying, like, yes, this is like what us got us here, but now let us show you all the cooler stuff that's within the Marvel universe. Not that the Infinity Stones aren't cool, but I think that's kind of like a meta way that they're trying to do it.
Oh, absolutely. It's like basically saying, hey, remember all of these things that the first three phases of this entire cinematic universe were based on. Now throw them out the window. We don't care about them anymore. We've got, see you later. We've got much more important things now. And I saw a tweet today and it said, Marvel writing the Infinity Stones into Loki as, basically paperweights means Marvel is up to some absolutely wild shit in the future.
There's going to be some very, very cool things in the future. I have no doubt in my mind.
So, I kind of touched on it earlier. Ravana Raslaya is the lady who kind of presides over the case for Loki. Right, she is the judge figure. Which interesting connection. Do you know who is very connected to her?
I do not offhand.
Kang the Conqueror. I don't know if we've seen him in the cinematic universe as of yet. Some people might disagree.
In like the second Ant-Man, where people thought that might be his like world.
Well, and we know that Kang is. I think Tommy mentioned it in the last episode, and I don't. Go ahead.
In Ant-Man 3, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yep. So I guess from what I understand, he is going to be the main antagonist in Ant-Man 3. So at some point, this guy's got to get introduced.
Oh yeah.
So here's some notes I found around the internet, because obviously, as you guys know, as the show knows, as Brandon knows, I'm not super savvy on the comics, and I know that this is where Kang resides a lot. So one thing is Kang is very, very deeply in love with Ravana Raslaya, who is very high up in this TVA thing. So they have a connection. So what could that mean? Who knows? Could be nothing.
Yeah.
And like I said, Marvel's the king of red herrings.
Yeah.
So it's so if you look behind her, I'll kind of share my screen here. Yeah, so why does, hold on here. That is not the right freaking picture. I don't want that one. Let's see here. Let's go to images. And let's look behind her. Okay, so I am going to share screen real quick.
Alrighty.
If I can remember how the hell to do that. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. So back here, let's look. Okay, so that looks a lot. Get out of there. Let's open up a new tab here. That's pretty similar, if you ask me.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, so look, so that actually led me down a bit of a rabbit hole today on the internet, and I didn't get too into it because I don't like to dig too far into theories that involve the comics, which I don't know. But
Yeah.
could Kang be behind it all?
I mean, from what I understand, he is a time traveling like antagonist. So
Right.
it could be possible with the whole obvious time travel theme that this Loki series is going to be getting into.
Absolutely. And that'll have to be something, when we have you back on, or when Tommy comes back on, we'll have to talk about.
Oh yeah.
Because Tommy, I know, is a huge fan of Kang and knows a lot more about him than the both you and I can.
Definitely.
But that is more for the fans. We want you guys to go, take a dig, dig deep in that. I know I will probably hear in between episodes. But I like to bring, things to light and possibly kind of see where we can go with all of that. But anything, I mean, first thoughts, what are your opinions on it? What did you think?
I thought it was really good. Definitely very excited to see where it goes and see all the crazy stuff that ends up happening. I mean, because we've already seen some pretty cool things in the trailer.
Right.
But honestly, I feel like 3/4 of the trailer took part in the very first episode, which means that there's a lot of crazy stuff that we have zero clue about, which is exciting. Yeah, so I'm just excited for the future of the show. Honestly, it's gonna be very good.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Are there any points that you want to get out? You want to discuss? Is there anything that you have, that jumped out to you? I mean, what do you think?
Yeah, I just think it was really cool to see the transformation that took Loki 10 movies happen in like 5 minutes as we watched that clip, and just see like the transformation, how he went in and was talking to Mobius, Owen Wilson's character.
Mobius, thank you.
No problem. When he was talking to him and he was talking about how fear was something inspired to control the weak, and then he goes back and uses that when he's talking about himself at the end of the episode. Like, it was just very cool to see how 180 his personality had been flipped after watching all the stuff that was supposed to happen in his life.
Yeah, I mean, especially with him killing his own mom.
Yes.
It's like, well, he doesn't technically kill his own mom, but he sends the dark
way to it.
Right. He basically leads, his soldier of demons straight to her.
Okay.
And then also sees Thanos snapping his neck, but he also sees that why would Thanos be killing him?
Yeah.
When he's against the Avengers. And I believe that Loki in that time, kind of knew that
he was invading Earth with the Chitaurian army from Thanos.
Exactly. So
serving Thanos.
So, at some point Thanos needed to kill him for something. And so, he's thinking, oh my God, and that's how he was supposed to die, and the TVA is showing him that. And so his ego gets damaged. And, we don't see that from Loki ever in anything. Is he's this egotistical, crazy, almost maniacal, very narcissistic, self-centered antagonist. But then, at the end of the episode, he's just kind of sitting there looking completely humbled.
A broken dog.
Right. He's got the Tesseract in hand, knowing that thing doesn't do shit. And right. And he has Well, and he didn't have to really go back to that room to talk to Mobius. He could have ran for his life,
Yeah,
but where was he gonna go?
yeah.
you know, he had no idea how anything.
And he can't use his magic. He's
Right. He has nowhere to go. So, I'm excited to see where it goes. I mean, and like I said, I loved Owen Wilson as Mobius. I thought this was a super cool role for him, and he wasn't the typical wow, wow.
yeah. I did like his little comment that he threw to Ravana. What'd you say her last name was?
Ravana Raslaya.
Okay, I liked the little comment when he was like, "I always feel like I'm looking up at you." I like that.
Yeah.
Funny.
I think he's the perfect character to
Yes.
get some.
Serious undertones, but can definitely have like a comedic, like laugh punchline, which is good.
Exactly. He's an insanely skilled actor, and he's obviously known as mostly comedy stuff, other than
Yeah.
Marley and Me, which Jesus Christ, I just remembered that movie. I didn't even think about that. Fuck that movie, man. It fucked me up as a kid.
Oh,
But yeah, I just, I'm excited to see where we go from this. And like you said, I'm definitely more hooked than I was at the beginning of both WandaVision and Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I agree.
Just because endless possibilities here, and as people who have been listening to this the whole time know I'm a huge fan of WandaVision, and it was easily of the two shows, it was my favorite. So, but this is quickly and swiftly making a run for the title, which I'm super okay with.
Yes. Yeah, and I hope that over the next 2 years we can come back and say that yeah, it was really good, but it isn't even the best that we've seen.
Right, absolutely.
I think that is going to be the case. I'm very hopeful for the future of the MCU.
Absolutely. It's in pretty good hands at this point. Okay, Brandon, closing thoughts. Do you have anything that you would like to, kind of get out there to the world and to the fans, and, kind of find out, or, any questions, any theories, any topics that that you want to see the fans discuss? What do you got?
Well, first off, I want to thank you for having me. It's been fun talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking to you. Wish Tommy was here. Have to get one there as well next time.
Absolutely.
But then, yeah, I don't really have any theories that we haven't really talked about, but I definitely think that the Ravana Renslayer, and kind of now after you showed that picture, it kind of looked like he was kissing the back of her head as well. So I think that would be, if it ends up happening, it'd be kind of cool.
Oh, absolutely. And, actually, it's funny because in Tommy's notes here, he thinks Kang is the interest of the TVA. He thinks that this is
how it sets up whatever in the future with him.
So he thinks that it's not Loki they're after. He thinks it's Kang, which I can see. A lot of the theories online I've been seeing have been saying the same thing.
Using Loki kind of like a pawn.
Yeah, exactly.
At least.
Exactly. So, we'll have to see where this goes. So my closing thoughts would be, I love this. I'm super excited to see, like, as you mentioned, I'm super excited to see where we're going with this. We're only one episode in, and I feel like I watched an entirety of a movie, and they packed, like you said, and 3/4 of that damn trailer was in the very first episode. So I'm excited to see where they go with this. Unfortunately, we did not get a mid or post credits scene. I'm hoping that we go back to those next episode.
Yeah, I noticed with both Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision, they didn't really start doing those until a few episodes in. So I have to imagine that's going to kind of be the like kind of platform they're going to use with all their shows.
Absolutely. And another thing that isn't super important, but at the same time it goes along the lines of screwing up timelines, and they are releasing these shows on Wednesdays rather than Fridays, as they've been doing with all of their new content, whether it's Marvel or Star Wars.
Yeah, Disney Plus wide, like
Yeah, their
like,
new content day
definitely.
is Fridays, and they haven't deviated from that since kind of the inception of putting this new content on. So I think it's awesome how they kind of threw that little, just a little joke in there, kind of saying, "Hey, we're going to mess up the timeline with this show and this show only, and we're going to make it on Wednesdays." Or we're digging too deep into that, and they're just like, we need to get another thing off of Friday and put it on Wednesday. But
Yeah,
I'm hoping it's kind of a layup to or an alley oop to the fact that Loki is screwing up timelines, and
yeah,
that's kind of the main mode of
acceptable.
the show.
Oh yeah.
With that, I will go ahead and close the show. Brandon, thank you so much for filling in and being on. It's been a blast talking to you. It's always awesome when we link up. It's like
Oh yeah.
uh, DaBaby and Dua Lipa when you and me link up. Uh, but yeah, so can't thank you enough, my man.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. So with that, I will tell you, go follow all of our socials. We will talk to you guys there. Brandon's a huge commenter. You'll run
Oh
into
yeah.
him. You'll run into him from time to time. Go ahead and give him a shout out on his Instagram. You'll see him obviously there. B Clark as he goes by to all of us. So like I said, we'll see you guys there. So Twitter, New Era Nerds Pod, Instagram's the same thing, and hit Tommy up, the TikTok king,
Oh yeah.
new _era _nerds. And yeah, interact with us. Come give us stuff to talk about. We'd love to see you guys. And I wanted to actually give a quick shout out. This is going to take a second to dig up, but we have a huge fan actually, and I can't thank him enough for the interaction that he's made with the YouTube and with the Instagram. So if you are out there, Omar, and you are still watching, thank you so much for commenting, keeping up with it, commenting on the YouTube videos. That gets us out there, that gets us into the algorithm. So without guys like you, we couldn't do this. B Clark, you as well, with all of the comments that you leave on the Instagram and sometimes YouTube. Another shout out we want to give is to Aaron Poland. So Aaron Poland, thanks for commenting on the YouTube video, kind of getting that into the algorithm. We really appreciate you stopping by. Sam Abood, my great childhood friend, thank you for stopping by and commenting your top 5 lightsabers on last week, or I guess what was it, Monday's video. And again, Omar, great dialogue with you, great conversation. It's always nice to see you stop by. So thanks for keep commenting. Obviously we got Henny commenting on the YouTube vid. So yeah, like I said, it's great to see you guys coming out. It's great to see you guys interacting with the content. Like I said, it keeps us in the algorithm. So hey, shout out to you guys. And with that, I will close the episode. Brandon, love you, buddy.
Love you.